What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Technical Talk, where no fucking technology works. That's right, batteries are shit. Camera batteries especially are shit. So apologies for being late. We are going to talk about football. It's not a technology program. We're going to be talking about Joao Neves, the next wonder kid to walk through the doors at Old Trafford, potentially. We've got reports on Luke Shaw being unhappy with medical staff and management. An Amrabat decision awaits, and Louis van Gaal publicly backs Eric Ten Hag. I want to talk about that. We've got Sam and Treyas alongside us. How has your weekend been, lads?
Compared to last week, pretty chill. Last week I was doing everything across the Lake District, and this weekend I've been chilling out, so it's been nice.
Okay.
Change of pace.
Very nice. Treyas, I feel like you've got a new hairstyle today. Is that a reflection upon how you're feeling?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, it's been a pretty chill weekend up until now. Yeah.
Okay.
Just give me 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes.
You do your thing, buddy. You go do what you need to do.
Just 2 minutes.
Anyone else in the chat, let us know how you're feeling as well, how your weekend's been, and if you're excited to get into these topics. We're going to kick things off with Joao Neves. He's the big talking point at the minute. I mean, you can't get away from it. Multiple bids apparently going in or not going in, or no idea. But the article that has come out, and again, this is from Team Talk, so I'll take it with a pinch of salt. Manchester United are set to make an improved proposal for Joao Neves. It's believed United could raise their offer to €75 million, so £63.9 million for the player, while also adding in a string of add-ons that could take the fee nearer to €85 million, so the £72 million mark. Romano Sam has also said back in April that United will push for this player, and now it's starting to get serious. Muppeters has put out a tweet as well saying United, the links are genuine, and United want to keep pushing on this deal. But the price is the huge problem, Sam. How much do you pay for this kid? Because we've been stung before paying big prices, but at the same time, he seems like he's a genuine talent. So how far do you go price-wise, in your opinion?
From the United side, you got to try and get the best deal you can, haven't you? Like, you can't be spunking 120 million euros they want.
So the release clause is €100 million, but the second bid that they're putting in is believed to be €75 million.
I thought the release clause was bigger than that, but
it might be. You might be right, but it's that ballpark, isn't it?
So
like
as good as he might be, and I think he's decent, but I don't think he's at the level where you can chuck 100 million and it'd be a guaranteed thing at this point. Like, he's still young. What is he, 20, 19?
19.
Yeah,
19.
So I don't think he's there yet. So I think spending that amount of money is still a risk. Like, this is not a guaranteed thing. So I would try and get under that. Like, 70 million is probably where I'd be at. 75 million is probably where I'd be at. I think if they want anything more than that, which is a straight up fee, maybe you could do 70 million plus add-ons if he hits certain targets, if he wins the Champions League, or if he scores a certain amount, I don't know, whatever add-ons you want to put on it. Maybe you could structure it that way, and then they get up to closer to the 100 million. That's fine. But I think anything bigger than 70 million is, I think you move on to other targets, because I think as good as he is, we cannot be held to ransom by clubs. And we know what Benfica are like. They do not sell unless they get good money for them people. Like, we've seen it. Joao Felix, Enzo Fernandes. Like, there's a list as long as my arm that they do that with. So I just think, don't be held to ransom by him. He's a great player, and I'm glad we're moving swiftly on it. And it's good to see that people that I trust in terms of like connections, Romano, like James from the Muppeters and Romano, are saying it's genuine. Like, this is not paper talk from like Talksport or some random Portuguese outlet that I don't know.
Yeah.
It's good to
or
see
some
that
kid in his room
in his
Wales.
bedroom in Swansea. So it's good to see that it's genuine. So I would love to get him, but I think United need to draw a line in the sand this summer, and we cannot be held over a barrel for any player. We need to just be like, look, this is what we're prepared to pay. If not, move on. Because you remember the Frankie de Jong, how long did that go on for? Like 12 weeks?
Do I remember the Frankie de Jong, did you just say?
just I don't need that. I don't need that this summer. I don't need us to be chasing Joao Neves for 12 weeks and then not get him. Like, cannot be doing that. So go up to your price, and then as soon as you reach your maximum price, if they're still not in, move on, go elsewhere, find somebody else. There's plenty of midfielders out there you can get. There's Fofanas out there for a bargain price. You can get Zubimendi for less than Joao Neves. Like, there's players out there you can go get for his price, and they'll do an equally as good job, if not maybe they've got more to him. So I like Joao Neves a lot, but let's not get absolutely rinsed for price this summer for once. Please, United, just fucking please don't do this again.
It's funny you mentioned Enzo because that was the first thought I had instantly in my head coming off the back of the World Cup that he had. And I think maybe a similar situation where, Joao Neves has a unbelievable Euros as well because he's been playing a couple of games for Portugal.
Yep.
I know Paulinho will probably play there, but if he does have a good cameo, but even Benfica might sit on that and they might think, you know what, if he has a really good performance, that'll up his price even more, or we may get closer to the release clause that we're asking for. It's interesting in it, Trey. I've got a video coming out early next week about the midfield trio of Bruno, Menu, and Joao Neves and how that could work. But what are your individual thoughts on him as a player in that kind of trio, and how much of a coup would this be for United if he was to land someone like Joao Neves?
I think out of all the options that have been mentioned before United right now, I think he's the number one person. Like on the list, I would go he's number one. And there are a lot of reasons for it. One, definitely his age, because if you get him in at this age, you've got your midfield sorted with Menu as well as him for the next 5 to 6 years at least. And apart from that as well, the ability that he has on the ball, the way he's able to scan the area around him, the way he's able, he's quite press resistant as well. He's able to, break the lines with his passes, open channels as well, and he knows how to fluctuate as a 6 as well as an 8. So it's not that he's unidimensional. And in that aspect, he's quite similar to Minu, which is why I think that, both of them together in a midfield as a double pivot, they could complement each other really well. And, the balance that we've been crying out loud for since last season in the midfield, I think Neves and Menu could provide us that balance in the midfield. Apart, other options definitely are there and probably, could also do a, decent job at United. But I think when it comes to, with the style of football that we are playing right now, I think Neves is by far one of the best options that you could go for.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I think he may actually become the new De Jong for me. The more I watch him, the more I really, really love him as a player. I think he's fantastic. And I was listening to Roberto Martinez speak about him and how he broke through and he got like man of the match performance in the big game in Portugal, which is like obviously Benfica against Sporting, I think he was talking about, and he just absolutely shunning that game, and he knew instantly from that moment that he probably going to go straight into the national team. So rightfully so, and also Sam, Benfica, I think you kind of alluded to it before, but they have a very rich history in growing these kind of players, don't they? They're just like a conveyor belt of fucking talent. So that's one thing to consider, of course. The other thing to consider, I wanted to ask you as well, if you want to add on to that, is the style of midfielder. What, for you specifically, what kind of midfielder do you want in there alongside Kobbie and Bruno?
Dino's put something in the chat that might upset Shreyas. He said maybe we could chuck Pellistri into the deal. I don't think Shreyas would be happy with that if that happened. I think we need some sort of physicality, some sort of combativeness, I think, in that midfield. I think that's where we struggle. Kobbie Mainoo, he's strong on the ball. We've seen it. But he's not majorly physical. He can shrug players off when he's on the ball and stuff like that, but he doesn't like to get stuck in. Bruno, as we know, I don't want to say he's petulant, but he is at times. Like, he'll chase after a player and he'll work hard, but then he'll normally foul them. And
he's not physically strong, is he?
And he'll normally like take someone's legs out, and it's just like, right, you just give away a free kick in a stupid area for no reason. I understand you get it back and you want to work for the team, but that's just stupid. So if we had a number 6 who was willing to do that work and sort of break play up, like we've said many times, if we had prime Kante, that'd be perfect right now. It'd just be perfect. Guy who gets stuck in, breaks up play, gets tackles in, but he's also be able to pass the ball, can pass through the lines, can get it out to the more creative players.
Can carry it as well.
Can carry the ball. Yeah, so when we're in possession, he can push up forward, but also got legs about him so he can get up and down the pitch. It's almost like an 8, but they're playing in the 6 position. It's like a hybrid sort of mode in it. Like a lot of modern day 6s, like if you look at Rodri, they don't just sit anymore. Like they don't just sit and then all the attack phase go forward. They join in with the attack. They go forward. Like you've seen Rodri score like quite a few goals this season. That's what we need in that midfield. Somebody who's got physicality about him, who's got presence, who can grow into the role, who's happy on the ball, who's happy out of possession, good tackler, good passer. We need all that. And I think Joao Neves ticks us a lot of those boxes. And he's only going to get better. He's 19. And I think you've seen the potential in him. Roberto Martinez has talked about him. I'm sure Bruno has touched on him a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
So I know Bruno likes him, and he'd be great. That'd be great. That link up
Yeah,
in
the
there.
connection.
So I think, yeah, Joao Neves could be a really, really good signing. But like you said, Benfica have got this reputation of pulling out stars and selling them for high prices. We talked about Enzo Fernandez. We talked about Joao Felix. So how much is it going to cost us? Because they clearly don't need the money because they sell players every summer for a shit ton. So I don't think they're in some sort of financial straits where they're like, we're desperate for, like Everton might be. I don't think they're in that state. So they can quite happily hold on. Like similar to what Ajax did. You know, when we came in for Lissandro and then we went for Anthony and they were like, we don't need to sell him. Let's just stick 90 million on it and see if they pay it.
Yeah.
And we did. We can't be in that position again. So I think if we can agree a price and negotiate something, fantastic. If not, walk away, because I don't see Benfica bowing to pressure price-wise, because they never have and they probably never will. And it annoys me that they've taken Alvaro Fernandez and he's probably going to be a star, and then we'll have to buy him back at a fucking inflated price, which is really irritating.
Yeah, story of United, unfortunately. We've got 36 people in the chat currently. Smash that like button and get your comments in. And we're going to dive into the comments section very, very shortly. So get as many in and let us know your opinions on Joao Neves, price-wise. What would you go up to for him? What is he worth? What do you think about him as a player? Would you prefer somebody else? What's the profile? Any kind of opinions on that midfielder? Just chuck them in there and we'll get into him in a minute. And good afternoon to everyone as well. I've not even said hello yet properly. It's because my head's been absolutely blown up with the fucking camera shit. Shreyas, I saw someone, I think it was a coach, describe him, and this sounds like someone similar who we know very closely. He described him and he said he plays like he's a 28-year-old veteran with 500 caps underneath him. Who's that in our team?
Mainu.
Mainu, 19-year-old kid. So how exciting would that be? Just the last thing on Joao Neves. 2 19-year-olds, almost call them generational talents.
Yeah.
Behind a captain and a leader and one of the best players in the Premier League, arguably, in Bruno Fernandes. Would that excite you?
Of course it would. And I think it opens up a lot of different channels for United next season as well, because once again, I don't know who the manager is going to be, but any manager who is going to be coming in and, he's going to be seeing someone like Joao Neves already in there, and then Kobbie, Mainu already being there, and Bruno Fernandes already being there. So that's three midfielders that, he knows that, I can bank on them next season, and probably I can build the squad around these two, three people. And apart from that as well, I think it will help out Bruno Fernandes a lot more as well, because perhaps his positioning can be a lot more better. His the way he's able to I would say try and keep his composure on the ball while moving into the final third. Maybe that can be helped as well, because both Neves and Mainu are quite mobile. They're quite agile as well. And one thing that we've seen this season in a lot of occasions is that whoever has been playing in the six, they're not really mobile. Whenever when you see our midfield, it's quite constricted. So having both of them guys in there in Mainu and Neves, the mobility, the agility, and as far apart from that as well, the energy that they, the engines that both of these kids have got, they can actually keep running for an entire 100 minutes and still, keep at it. So I would say from all the options being listed there, Neves is one of the best options that you could go for. And once again, if he's being quoted for around 70, we've got a limited budget that we can spend on him, but if he's being quoted around 70 or 80 million right now, next season it's only going to get higher.
Yeah,
with he's going.
I absolutely agree with that. We're going to talk about Amrabat in a moment, Sam. I'm just going to read out a couple of comments because there's quite a few. Right, let's see what everyone's saying. Good afternoon, everyone who's saying it in the chat. Absolute legends. Adam Saunders saying 72 million for a CDM. You need the finished article. Steph is saying she doesn't want another Frankie de Jong type saga. Do not talk to me about that. I mean, we've been back. We've made. Sam will tell you how many graphics he's made for.
I don't want to make thousands of Joao Neves graphics either. Like I don't need to do that.
Well, it could go that way. The way it's looking. Who knows? Maybe we could chuck. Oh, sorry, already read that out. The Plistry thing from Dino. Manlu Tata says Stephanie Sagas is what feeds what fan channels. I have no idea. What that's saying. Anyway, I agree. 75 million euros plus add-ons, says Martin. Ashid says good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Ashid. No more than we paid for Mount and pay him less wages, but we'll struggle to get him from other clubs competing. I think that is the big worry for me. If an Arsenal come in, or even a Man City are looking for maybe a Rodri replacement a little bit. That is one thing that would really concern me about that. So yeah, I mean, it's inevitable, isn't it? United are interested in this player. We'll see. They're in talks. We'll see what happens, and then a week later, other clubs are coming in. They're chasing it, and then we usually get beat to it. We always come off second.
Has
best,
anybody
so it'll be
else?
interesting.
Anybody else been linked to him? I've not seen anything.
Arsenal.
Have Arsenal been linked to
Arsenal.
him?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Which
don't
is
need
greedy,
that.
in my opinion.
I don't need
Declan
Declan Rice, Joao Neves,
Get to
and fucking Odegaard. Like, get you,
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Oh, that'd be absolutely.
And then Sesko up top.
Yeah. Fucking.
Nick might kill himself. He might actually kill
quite
himself.
Yeah. Right, let's stick with the midfield then. Amrabat decision. So Manchester United are yet to rule out the possibility of activating the option to sign Sofiane Amrabat on a permanent deal, with a decision likely to be delayed until after the club have finalised Eric Ten Hag's future. I know the majority of us said we would keep him, Sam, but what role would he play? We were just discussing Joao Neves then. Let's say he does come in hypothetically. What role would Amrabat play then? And also, what style would suit him? Because Ten Hag went a bit more pragmatic towards the end of the season, didn't he? He was kind of a bit more resolute, compact, and that seemed to suit Amrabat. But if he's going to go back to a bit of a transitional, chaotic style, he might struggle in that a little bit, mobility-wise.
Yeah, I think you saw... So the blueprint we beat City with is the blueprint where you're like, this is what we need to do to beat those teams. Teams where you're not going to have a lot of possession, where they're going to press you high and they're going to push you, like I said, like with mobility and sort of pace. That's how you play with that. So maybe that's where Amrabat would come in. It's like a guy who's more willing to sit and he doesn't need to push on so much. That's maybe where he comes in. But then when you've got a bit more possession, you've got a bit more control. I'm hoping we have some fucking control next season, because Jesus Christ, I can't deal with that again. Maybe when you got a bit more control, the way the likes against like it's not even Burnley went down, didn't they? Who's coming up? Southampton, those kind of teams. Ipswich,
Yeah.
those kind of teams. You've got a bit more control. That's when Joao Neves maybe comes in, and he can sort of play a bigger role in possession and then pushing up when you want to sort of go on the attack. This is what you need when we've talked about squad depth. Squad depth is the thing we've always suffered from the last couple of years. We haven't had it. We've got an 11 who's pretty good, and then if any of them drop out, we're fucked. Like the whole thing falls apart and we can't deal with it. You look at the likes of City, you look at the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea as well. If somebody drops out, it doesn't really matter. Like they've got the players to sort of just slot in, and it keeps going, and the machine keeps going. With us, we haven't got that. Like if you lose Casemiro or you lose the likes of Amrabat, Scott McTominay, and the downgrade is just... I love Scott McTominay, and he's great if you want to chuck in and get a goal, but in terms of like playing in the midfield and offering you anything beyond getting a goal, he doesn't, and it's just, it falls apart. And then we're too reliable on individuals. So you saw Lisandro Martinez came out of the team, the defense fell apart because we haven't got that leader, we haven't got that press resistant guy who can just walk away from like anybody trying to press him. You don't have the passing range that he has, the diagonals and all that sort of stuff. You lose all of it. So I think if you fill your team and you've got squad members who can, weaknesses of other ones, they can step in and fill that gap, and then they've also got something about them so you can change up and it's not too much of a drop in quality, that's where you need to be. In a minute, we don't have that. Like, we've got Rasmus Højlund, he's our only striker. You lose him, we're playing with false nines. You've got Garnacho, he's played 40-odd games. If you lose him, it's Anthony on the right. It's just like, you know what I mean? The drop is ridiculous. Kobbie Mainoo should not be playing the amount of games he's played, but he's had to because we've got nobody else who's as good as him or better. And this is what we need to address. So if you've got Amrabat, he's your squad member, he's your backup. Joao Neves is the guy you're grooming, he's going to be the first guy on the team sheet, hopefully. And then Amrabat comes in and swaps out when you can rest Joao Neves, or you need to break, or you need to rotate, or whatever, or change the things a little bit, or a substitution here and there. That's what you need. And I'm hoping that's where United are moving to. We're getting a couple of first teamers, and then we get hold of like some smaller players who come in as squad depth and they can improve the quality that we have. And then we can sell off the likes of McTominay, we can sell Maguire, we can sell people like that and get some money back in. I'm hoping that's what we're doing, but obviously time will tell.
It's for me, Shayaz, I look at these kind of signings and they're not put out there like they're very important or we don't need him or he's only 13 mil or whatever it was. But an example I would use, and again, I don't know if you would agree, is someone like a Jorginho at Arsenal, for example, right? What did they pay for? 10 mil? Was it? And everyone at the time was like, what the fuck are you doing? But actually him coming in at times, that's been really good for him, adding that experience and depth Could Amrabat play a similar role for you, or is he more of a key figure in your mind?
I think he'll play a similar role. I think he's someone who will be much more, adept at being there, on the bench. And then set games, you bring him on, solidify the midfield, try and, close out the midfield a lot more, add an extra body into midfield. So I think for that, that sort of job, I think he's a very, very good signing.
Yeah.
But again, I think his future actually depends on Ten Hag as well. Because if there is another manager going to be coming in, I doubt he'll take a look at Amrabat with the way things are looking at United right now and with the kind of money we've got to spend, at least, with no outgoings right now. I don't think that, any new manager coming in will go and take a bet on Amrabat, because any new manager coming in would like to make each and every single signing that they make count. And when they know that, we've only got like 80 or 90 million of a budget to spend, they'll look to, invest it more towards their own players. So unless Ten Hag is staying, I think if Ten Hag stays, there is still a world where I see Amrabat, being a Manchester United player next season. But if it's not him and if it's another manager, I think they'll be looking to maximize as much as they can when it comes to the budget.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Maybe it just does solely depend on the manager, because it was Ten Hag's guy, wasn't it? He's obviously coached him before, so I think that will obviously have a big say on whether he stays or goes. So Amrabat sat there with his fingers and his toes crossed, waiting for this Ten Hag news.
What he did
just like we are.
He did it in the summer, didn't he? Like he didn't go on pre-season Fiorentina, and he turned down a bunch of other clubs because he wanted to go to United, which I like that, man. I like a guy who's like, no, I want to play for United. I don't give a shit about all the other ones. So he seems like a good individual to have in the team, I would say.
That's the mistake we've made before, isn't it? With just buying players, even though they don't even necessarily want to be here. Di Maria being a prime example of that, really. It was like, the wages are good, the exposure's good. It's a Premier League, maybe I'll try it. But Amrabat was like, no, I don't give a shit who's offering. I want to go there.
Yeah.
And I love that. I agree. My damned United with a fantastic analogy. Can you imagine getting Neves and Kobbie in the middle of the park and then appointing Pizzagate, obviously meaning Southgate, I'm assuming? It's like ordering Gordon Ramsay's finest dish and then asking for the Tommy sauce. Tommy sauce is tomato sauce, Reyes. I don't know if you would get that. That's like kind of slang, but
Reyes was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, Tommy sauce. What the fuck is that? Yeah, absolutely agree with that. My damned United. Steph saying Kobbie needs a strong defensive midfielder alongside him, a younger Casemiro type or Amrabat as a squad player. I understand that, because that's one concern that would be for me, the physicality that like we kind of touched on in that kind of three. Maybe it'd be height-wise as well. It's quite small. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it'd be a bit of a concern. Daniel CA saying Desire do and to Debo after Brandwaite and Neves, and then a striker to top it off. Richard saying the thing about Amrabat and players like him is in order to compete, you need a squad, and at the price, we have to keep him. Agree. Oz United says Neves reminds me of Lothar Matthäus. Haven't seen him, have to be honest. Haven't seen that player. And My Damn United saying Amrabat as a squad player is a very sensible move. Yeah. And you guys are very sensible in the chat as well, as always. Right, should we talk about Luke Shaw then? Because he's kicking up a bit of a fuss, lads. I'm not sure if you've seen the articles. I'm sure you probably have, because obviously, Sam, you put news stories out every day. And likewise, Shreyas, you're very well read. So I assume you guys have probably seen it. But just for the viewers' benefit as well, I'll read out a couple of the quotes about speaking on his injuries, basically, and being rushed back and stuff like that. He's saying, I felt something against Aston Villa and came out at half time. I hadn't trained all week, only the day before the game at Luton. And if the manager asked me to play, I'm never going to say no, but I shouldn't have played. It's kind of everyone's fault, partly my fault, partly the medical staff. I think everyone would admit that. I was pushing to try and get back for the games and the final, and I think I pushed too hard. I came back too quickly, and I actually ended up getting another injury in my hamstring, which was a 2C tear, which was 3 weeks from the final. Again, Sam, not to sound like a broken record, but is this just another example of how bad this medical team is at United? We must have had, I don't know how many individual cases there's been where we've either rushed a player back or not managed the injury correctly. Yeah. And this certainly seems the case with Luke Shaw, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've known Luke Shaw since that horrific leg break in the Champions League. He's had issues with his ankle and with his is it his leg, that his tibia, I think it was, he broke. So. Yeah. And he's got like screws and plates locked into it, like, and it causes him a lot of issues training and stuff like that. So he has to be sort of monitored quite carefully. And then last season, we thought, oh, maybe he's got over it, because last season he played like majority of games, didn't he? Like he played like quite a lot of games, and it was like, okay, maybe maybe we've solved something here. Maybe it's that. And then this season, it's just been awful, like in terms of injuries. And we've seen it so many times. Like we thought, oh, Luke Shaw's coming back, Luke Shaw's coming back, Luke Shaw's coming back, and he comes in and he gets taken off at half time or halfway through the second half, and you're just like, for fuck's sake, the amount of time. And it's like, clearly he wasn't fit. Clearly he was not ready to be playing. Why have we thrown him in the team? And then he's obviously referred to it in the quote there that manager asked him, and he said yes. So he's also taking responsibility. So it's like he should have said no. But then you know what players are like. Players want to play no matter what. Like a lot of players are just like, yeah, I'll play. And then they end up doing themselves more damage. We saw it with Bruno. Bruno's played through so many injuries when he probably shouldn't have. But because we don't have the lack of depth, which I touched on before, you just sort of screwed because you have to play him because there's nobody else. I think Luke Shaw's the same way. And then I think we got a little bit unlucky with Terrell Malacia. I think Terrell Malacia, whatever's gone on there, because obviously we still don't know the full story. He's had setback and 2 surgeries, so I don't know what's happened. So obviously Ten Hag was like, well, I'm going to have Terrell Malacia back eventually. So I'll be all right. And then Terrell Malacia didn't come back. We let Reguilon go and we let Alvaro go. So we were left up Schitt's Creek with no paddle. And I think Luke Shaw has then realised, oh, I need to come back. And every time he's tried to come back, he's re-injured himself. So rather than taking the time off fully and to heal fully and then come back, he's tried to rush himself back. So like he said, it's his fault. It's the medical staff's fault because they should have said, nah, he's not ready to come back. He shouldn't be playing. He's also at fault because he should be saying no. If his body's not feeling right, he shouldn't be playing. And then the manager's also at fault because if he knows he's not 100%, why are you picking him? Why are you playing him? So there's so many faults there that we need to think. And I think there's been talk. I think James from Upstairs mentioned said that we're looking at a left back this summer is in sort of contention because obviously Terrell Malacia, we don't know the extent of his injury. Apparently he's going to come back for next season, but how fit will he be after a massive injury like that? There's question marks whether he's going to be 100%. How long is it going to take him to get back to the level he was at? Shaw, doubts, stuff like that. He's not fit now, and he's supposedly fit for the second group game for England. But why are we taking him? For United fans, particularly, like that's a risk that I don't want to see us take. I'd rather have the summer off, fully recuperate, and then come again for United. But it's his decision, so there's nothing much we can do. And then we've sold Alvaro to Benfica, so and then Harry Amas, is he ready? I don't think so.
Well, stay tuned to find out when we do the members video very soon.
Harry Amas, I think he's a potential really great prospect, but maybe a touch too early because we haven't seen him we've seen him on the bench a lot, and he's been in first team training, but he's not had a minute of first team. So it's like, is he ready? So it's definitely a concern, man. And I like Luke Shaw. And how many times have we said this about a midfield, about a player for United? On their day, they're the best we have. But how many days do we have with Luke Shaw left if his injuries continue this way? I think it's concerning, man. And I just wish he would have took the summer off, like Rashford is taking off, just so we've got him back for next season. But this is where we are.
I mean, I couldn't have put it better myself, to be honest. I can think of like multiple situations just off the top of my head where we've brought players back. Like Wan-Bissaka, I think when he played left back against Liverpool, I don't even think he trained properly, and he was just chucked right into the fire and actually did a really good job.
Amrabat came in. No training. He was injured, and he played left back, which is out of position.
Rasmus was an interesting one because he had a bit of a back problem. Lissandro coming back in a bit too early. You had Rafael Varane as well. Like, Bruno. So many situations. I mean, if you want to do an overhaul in EOS, we've all said on this multiple times, the medical staff's probably the number one fucking priority. It really is, the way they've been dealing with certain situations. I'll ask you about Shaw as well, Shrey. I just want to get through a couple of things because there's quite a bit of activity in the chat. So, Sam has just gifted 5 Real Reds Talk memberships in the chat, and the recipients, I can't even say the word. A fool named Hugger, love that name. David Chan, The Don, Jarvis Cocker, fantastic name. Welsh to the Bone, have all been gifted a membership by Real Reds Talk. So I hope you enjoy that, guys, and enjoy the exclusive content we put out every single week, and the badge next to your name. I hope you enjoy it. Random Guys also gifted a Real Red membership as well. Always does it, an absolute legend. And Steph was the recipient of that. So again, a very deserved person to receive it. It's always very supportive, Steph. So yeah, absolutely. You're all a bunch of legends in the chat, and appreciate every single one of you. A couple more quotes on Luke Shaw Shred for you. I've got here. I'm going to fire him off to you. I've got a few people coming up to me saying, how can you be fit for Man United, not fit for Man United, but fit for England? the circumstances were that I did everything I possibly could to be fit for United, and that's really been my whole season. Of course, like I said, it's been disappointing for me, but I want to do everything I can, of course, first and foremost for Manchester United. And obviously the narrative, Shreyas, me and Sam were discussing this on a previous show, that he's kind of prioritising England in that sense. Maybe that was a little bit early to go with that. If he's fit and available to go, are you expecting a good tournament from Shaw in the Euros?
I really don't know what to expect from Luke Shaw because once again, he's been out of action since when November or something like that.
Yeah,
I
I think
don't
so, yeah.
I don't even remember the last time Luke Shaw actually featured. So even if he's able to recover and he's back in the England team for the Euros, I don't expect him to be absolutely match sharp, 100%, 100% sharp for the games that he's going to be featuring in for England in the Euros.
Yeah.
And I I would want him to actually take a rest because once again, he cannot afford another injury right now. Already the atmosphere around him isn't quite positive, and if he goes, if during the Euros he's once again starts featuring, gets 90 minutes, and then in the later stages of the tournament picks up another injury and then comes to United during the preseason, it's not going to create a good atmosphere for him when already things are quite negative and United are already in the running for a left back going into next season. So once again, with Luke Shaw we know what to expect. When he's very, very valuable to the team because once again, he not only features as a left back, he can do an incredible job as a centre back as well.
Yeah.
So the kind of fluidity and the kind of versatility that he brings to the team is quite immense. But on the other hand, he's not someone you can go into next season and he's going to be playing 40-45 games for us this season and be starting those games. He's not that guy anymore. And with the injuries that he's had, it does take a toll on his body. And with the kind of positioning he whenever he plays left back, the kind of work rate that he has to generate on that side, it is going to take a toll on his body. So I think going into next season, United desperately need another left back. I'm not saying that just offload Luke Shaw. I'm not sure that is the answer right now because of the limited budget we have, but we certainly need to go in for another left back because we cannot go into another season with players playing out of position. We don't have natural fullbacks playing in their natural positions. We don't have natural centre backs playing in their natural positions. We don't have natural strikers playing in their natural positions, and it just covers the entire park for us. So I think as a player, once again, we all his ability is by far one of the best in the league, but you cannot bank on him to be moving into next season, considering we are in the Europa League as well, and we are going to be having to play a lot of games next season. So you need another person to come in there and do a job for us.
I have a feeling Ten Hag's going to be sat there over this Euros and he's going to be watching like that with his hand like, oh, please no. Because, excuse me, the positives for him, I suppose, if he is still at United, I mean, first and foremost, we don't even know if that's going to happen, but if he is,
Exactly.
Maguire's not going, Rashford isn't going, but he'll be keeping an eye on players like Bruno, Luke Shaw. Bruno especially has played a lot of football.
Rasmus.
And all these kind of guys. Who, sorry?
Rasmus is gone with Ten Hag as well.
Yeah, of course. And a couple of others will be sat there like, oh, please no, please don't get injured. Because we've seen it before. It's happened loads of times. Someone picks up a massive injury whilst we're international, and that sets them back again. And then the start of the season's behind. I feel like the start of the season's already lagging because of this tournament, because everything that's going on with the manager and the transfer window and stuff. I feel like we are not going to go into. I could be proved wrong, and I'm absolutely happy to. But I feel like we're going to go into this season again a little bit underprepared. And then we all remember what happened on pre-season as well, lads, with the fucking flying here, there, everywhere. I hope that doesn't happen again. I hope pre-season's done effectively. But yeah, it all depends on the manager, doesn't it? That is the pending question. And that is the very last topic that we're going to discuss. So Louis van Gaal has been publicly speaking about Erik Ten Hag. So he's basically said Erik is winning the FA Cup and also first year qualifying for the Champions League. I don't think you have to sack him. He needs more time, but he has not done it fantastically. You can give criticism, but he's also shown he is a good manager. Sam, 15 days in for the FA Cup final, still no news. Still waiting for that ultimate decision. And from one Dutch coach who won the FA Cup to another Dutch coach who won the FA Cup, Will United make the same decision? That's the $1 million question that's on everyone's minds at the moment. And also, just to add to that, both coaches had very different styles. We all remember Van Gaal, robotic, possession-based, structured. Ten Hag's almost the opposite of that. Do we need to almost find somewhere in between that where it's kind of a bit of both, if that makes sense?
I think I'm a backer of Ten Hag. I think he deserves more time. I know there's a couple of people on this channel, I won't mention them, but that want him gone. So which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I think Louis van Gaal, the style was, I'll just say, boring. It's fucking boring. I think Jay Motti who's been on the channel, like, said to us at his end he didn't see a goal for like 6 months, which is just horrific, like fucking horrific. I think we had one game where he tried to play with like 3 forwards when he had Di Maria and stuff against Leicester. Do you remember that game? The 4,
Yeah.
is it 4-2?
Was that when Di Maria chipped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm never doing that again, because it was just too much chaos and he couldn't deal with it. So he went literally like to the style you ended up seeing. And then, yeah, you've got the other end of the thing with Ten Hag where he's like clearly trying to implement this transition style, but we're receiving more shots on goal than we ever have in our history. We are giving up possession more readily. It's 2 passes through our midfield. It's like it's non-existent. So clearly that's not, you can't continue with that either. We have had a historic amount of injuries, more than we've had I remember in my life. I don't remember having this amount of injuries ever in the United squad. So I think that needs to be taken into account, but I think he also needs to explain certain decisions he's made during the season where I've gone, why have you made that substitution? Why have you done this? Also, why is he only suddenly adapted his style in a final or the last 3 games of the season when he's had the entire season to do this, and then he's chosen to do it now, which clearly shows he is capable of doing it, but you've been stubborn to the end and now you've decided to do it when your job's pretty much on the line. That has to be explained as well. So I think he needs to have a discussion with Ineos. I'm hoping they've had that, or they're going to have that, to discuss that, and if he can explain that and the certain circumstances and that, and then hopefully if they go into the transfer market and go like, what sort of profile do you need? Oh, we want to play this style. Can you adapt to this style? Can you play this style? And if we get the players and back you in, can you do this? And then they do that. We go through to next season. And he gets given an opportunity to show what he can actually do under circumstances are way more favourable to him. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, then cool, you can cut ties and be like, look, we gave him the opportunity, but the players we've bought in are for the style rather than for the manager, which is what's happened the past however many seasons. We've just lurched from one manager to the other and got players for them, and now we're left with like this random mix of players. So I think giving them an opportunity under correct ownership, under a correct structure, I think is the answer. But it would not surprise me if they sacked him, because we've seen it when new owners have come in. The first thing they do is let go of the old manager because it's not their guy, and they get rid. We've seen it Chelsea, City, it's happened all the time. So it would not surprise me. But if I were Ineos, I would give him the opportunity and back him. If you're going after the likes of Joao Neves and people like that, I think that gives him a better platform, a better opportunity to succeed. But time will tell, man. I'm not worried yet. I wouldn't worry about it. I know a lot of people are panicking, but I'm patient, man. So I'm happy to wait.
Strez, if Ten Hag does stay, is the style an initial concern for you heading into next season? And 2, what are you expecting going into next season?
I'm actually really not feeling confident that he's going to be staying, but if he somehow manages to stay, then I think moving into next season, the targets that are being mentioned right now is, including Amrabat and Neves. I think those are the sort of midfielders that we'll be targeting. A striker will definitely be prioritized, and I think a centre back would be prioritized even more moving into next season to partner up with Lissandro, because Varane is gone as well. That's a big hole that we still need to fill. So I think if Ten Hag does stay, I think the turbulent football that we were seeing this season, I don't see it happening again next season. Because we've seen, when he's got his players and when he's had Varane, when he's had Lissandro in that back line, he has reverted to a more stable system. He has reverted to a system where, the rhythm of opponent's team actually, it does disrupt. And it happened to, Man City in the final as well. The entire rhythm of the team got disrupted. So there is a lot of potential there. and do see a lot more scope than I was seeing, in the middle stages of the season. But the only thing is that if this is the project that he's presenting, in front of Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox, that this is if he does stick to this, basketball style of football, I think that he's gone, because when it comes to the Premier League, you cannot be playing that sort of football week in and week out. You need a more stable, you need a more rigid system when you are approaching the Premier League. So once again, the amount of uncertainty that surrounds Ten Hag right now, it just doesn't fill me with any confidence
Can I
that he's
just
staying. And yeah, go ahead.
Can I just say, we don't even have our full structure in place yet. Ashworth's
Exactly.
not there yet. Barada hasn't started yet. That new CEO guy's not starting yet. Like, we've not got everybody in place yet. So I don't think a decision is going to be made until people are in place, because I don't think Sir Dales Brailsford and Sir Jim Radcliffe want to make this decision. I think they want football people to make this decision. I think that's what we're waiting for.
But the issue is with that is, like you said, Barada doesn't start till mid-July.
Yeah.
Ashworth might not even get done until autumn.
Yeah.
So obviously some dodgy WhatsApp text going on, as we already know anyway.
Yeah.
Some stuff going on, and I think they're all aligned. They wouldn't have joined this project if they weren't all aligned in a vision that they all have together in it. In that sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they probably know. I don't know what it'll be.
They're probably asking their advice. They're probably asking their advice, and like, what do you think when you come in? What would you do? Would you do this? So I'm sure they've had conversations.
The only thing concrete that has come out during this entire patch has been that United has been in touch with agents of multiple managers. That's the only thing that has been confirmed up until now.
That wasn't from Ineos. That was from Chelsea and from other teams and stuff like that.
Steinberg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He reported that. Yeah.
So it doesn't fill me with confidence.
No, it does feel a little bit all over. We are in limbo because there's no football, and there's just rumours and speculation, and nothing can really happen until they make the decision, and then it's kind of the domino effect. Then you'll see everything kind of fall in place after it. But make that decision first, and then we can take it from there. There is 64 people currently in the chat. We're on 5,369 subs. So we're 31 or 5,400. If it's any new viewers in the chat currently who haven't subscribed, please do hit that button. We'd really appreciate it. And smash a like as well if you're feeling extra nice. It is the weekend. We're all relaxed. It's Sunday. So I imagine the majority will be quite chilled and in a good mood. So if you would love to do that, that'd be absolutely amazing. We're going to end the show with a Q&A. So if there's anyone in the chat, if there's any topics that we haven't covered that you would have liked to have discussed, or anything on your mind, whether it's transfer rumours or whatever it is, get it in the chat, and me, Sam, and Shreyas will definitely discuss it. So let me go through some comments whilst you guys are doing that. 2 seconds.
Also, by the way, we are filming an After Dark podcast at some point this weekend, or maybe early next week. So if you are a member and you've not seen After Dark before, it is our podcast where we talk about everything except football. I know a couple of people chuck questions in time to time that are non-football related. So check that out. We will be doing it live, I think, for members. So if you're a member, you can check that out. And then for everybody else, it'll probably go live on the channel a week later. But if you want to watch it live, or you want to watch it before everybody else, join the membership. I know I've gifted out a couple of stuff, and then obviously Random Hero, I think Random Guy.
Yeah.
I'll call him Random Hero.
He is a hero, though.
Yeah. He's gifted a couple over the last couple of days. So yeah, look out for that. I really enjoy. It's one of my favorite things we do on the channel. Like, I really enjoy doing it.
It's always hilarious, isn't it?
Some of it we can't broadcast, so this live one might be a bit dodgy. So, but yeah, come watch us get cancelled.
No, absolutely. Box saying Collier and Gore should be promoted into the first team set up properly. I think Gore's had a bit of a setback.
His shoulder surgery, hasn't he?
Dislocated his shoulder recently, so he's had a bit of a setback. But I do like Dan Gore, in fairness. He could be a next one to kind of go through the ranks. Excuse me. McMillan says Benfica is interested in Greenwood, could use him in a make weight for Neves. Any time I hear swap deals, for me personally, I never really believe them, because I always think they're so difficult to do.
Very rare.
Wages and multiple agents involved. Yeah, it's what a sticky one in it. That not really one for me, that. But if we could do it, I'd absolutely take that. Charlie Mom says that is what I've been saying. Barada will choose the manager. We will know about the manager in the middle of July. Jeez, I don't think I can wait that long. My stress levels. No, it can't do that.
So how can if the manager won't be announced until mid-July, how can we approach any signings? till that gets announced.
And also pre-season. Who the fuck is McLaren going to take him on pre-season? Like, what's going on?
Question from random guy. What do you think of Kimmich? Contract ends at 2025. Market value 40 to 70 million. Would you take him?
The thing with Bayern right now is I think transfer listed 6 of their first team players, including Kimmich, Goretzka, De Ligt, one of their attackers. I think it is Coman, and another one in the midfield. They have transfer listed because company wants to bring in a different sort of analogy. I think there.
Wants to bring in Jay Rodriguez from Burnley up top to get rid of Harry Kane.
And Alphonso Davies going to Real Madrid
Alphonso
as well.
Davies is going to Madrid. Yeah, he's going to Madrid. So Kimmich is going to be available, and I just don't know. Once again, till the time we don't know who the manager is going to be, because imagine Thomas Tuchel walks into United. There's no way you're going for Kimmich then.
Yeah, it's a good point, to be fair. Yeah. The interesting thing, do you remember with Alphonso Davies when Ten Hag said before the game that he's bad at defending and Pellistri was starting? And I'm like, look, careful, mate. Like, that's a big brag before the game. But yeah, but what was the thing? Sorry, what was? Oh, Kimmich. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got slightly sidetracked there. It reminds me a little bit. I'd be a hypocrite if I said, yeah, absolutely go and get it, because when we signed Casemiro, I know are they similar age? Kimmich, like what is it? How old is Joshua Kimmich? I feel like he's at least late 20s, isn't he? Like
29, 30.
Yeah, 29, 30. So I'd be a hypocrite to say, go and sign him. Go and sign him for 50 million quid, let's say. It'd be the same thing as Casemiro. Does he have one good season and then fall off the next? Like, I don't know. I do like Kimmich. I think it'd be a fantastic experience. I still think he's a top-class player. Could play multiple positions, similar to Philipp Lahm in that sense. But I don't know. I won't be mad at it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Question from Stephanie. If we keep Shaw, do you think his best position is left centre-back? And will United ever play with a back three?
I don't think his best position is left centre-back. Me personally, I think he'd do a fantastic job there, and he's probably equally good at it, sorry. But I look at, if they're going to keep hold of someone like a Marcus Rashford, having Shaw on that left-hand side, you saw the season, when Shaw was fit for a full season, it has a massive impact on Rashford in front of him, or any winger that is, because he is that overlapping player. He can drop into midfield. I think his best position for me is left back. And in terms of a back three, no, I don't think Ten Hag will ever play a back three for the rest of his managerial career.
He's never played it before, and I just don't think he's ever gonna. He's not gonna do that now, is he? All of a sudden, and just go, wait, let's fucking back three. Like, I can't see.
Remember when Ollie did it against Spurs?
Yeah.
Played. Yeah. Was it Cavani, Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Cavani, Ronaldo up top. Yeah.
I remember he had to revert then because everyone was like, just do fucking something.
This is chaos.
I think, this is chaos. I think us the season just gone past.
Yeah.
It was like, maybe you can switch to a back five or do something a bit more. You need to plug them holes because we're getting, 31 shots against Brentford. Not Brentford. Yeah, Brentford, wasn't it? You need to fucking do something. So I would like to see sometimes managers rotate like that. I know Graham Potter does it quite a lot when he was at Brighton or Chelsea. Like, in-game. Yeah. He would switch system. Be really, really mad. Like, almost like what are they? Is it the jellyfish that changes colours? Is it jellyfish?
Chameleon.
What am I thinking of?
Chameleon.
It's chameleon. I'm sure there's another animal who does it, but yeah, let's go with the chameleon because it's a much more easy fucking thing. He would do that in game and mirror almost the opposition, and it was like fascinating to me.
Pep does it. Pep does it all the time. Pep adapts mid-game, and he'll stick a player like
yeah.
So he's adapted. So he came in, he tried to play his tiki-taka, and it didn't.
It's tiki-taka.
Tiki-taka. It didn't quite work, and he's had to go and develop, and he's had to bring in like physical players. So he's had to bring in the likes of Rodri and the likes of Yaya Toure and all that sort of stuff. He's had to adapt his style, and now even again he's sort of reinventing it. He's like John Stones is coming into the midfield. He's playing with centre backs as full backs and stuff. He's changing styles, and I would love to see a United manager or even Ten Hag be able to do that in game and change through a season and be like, okay, this is not working. I can adapt this and tweak this and change. I'd love to see that, but obviously we don't have the squad depth and the money to do that. But it would be nice to see that. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Shrez, I'll throw this question to you. So this is from Sean Khan. Saying, should we sell? I'd say his first name, but I'd absolutely butcher it, so I'm not even going to try. Should we sell Rashford this transfer window If yes, whom do we replace him with? I don't think Sancho, and I can't see that second bit, can't rely on Garnacho all season.
Yeah, I don't see Rashford leaving this this season. I think there are already a lot of changes that are happening around the club right now, and I think with the kind of contract that Rashford has been given right now, it is going to be very, very tough to actually offload him. I don't see any other club right now in Europe who would be willing to pay him around 325 grand a week. The kind of contract that United has given to him right now. If though somehow we are able to offload uh, Marcus Rashford, I would go in for someone like Kvaratskhelia, a left-sided playmaker, bring in something different because we've already got a lot of direct wingers at our club. We need that sort of creativity coming off from the flanks, but it is going to be very unrealistic for us right now with the kind of situation that we are in with Marcus Rashford. It's not going to be easy to get offload him because in that sense, you can say his situation is quite similar to that of Jadon Sancho. Both are on extremely high wages. So even if United do end up transfer listing them, who is even going to come in for them? Yeah,
There's
and pay
only
them
like two
that
teams.
sort of wages.
There's like two teams who can afford him. Like literally two teams in the world. Like what, PSG and Chelsea. Other than that, nobody else can afford those wages.
Yeah, would be interesting, wouldn't it, if PSG came in and put a bid on the table to see the reaction of the fan base.
They need to replace.
They
need to replace Mbappe, don't they? Mbappe's gone.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. So that would be very interesting. All right, the last thing we'll end on then. Try and predict who Manchester United will sign first this summer.
God.
So who do you think, this will be a fun game, who do you think is going to walk through the door first at Manchester United? Come on, let's get some predictions.
I don't think we sign anyone in June, personally.
Yeah.
Okay, so even if it's August the 30th, who do you think will be the first?
I hope it's not August. Fuck August, man. I'm not doing
Under
this
the previous regime, it wouldn't surprise you.
I'm not doing this show every week talking about transfers and we don't sign anybody till August 30th.
So bad. Do you remember that? Was that Amrabat and Bayern last season on the last day?
Yeah.
And like, finally, fucking hell, you're haggling over £1 million. You Man United, what the fuck's going on? Like, yeah, crazy.
I would say July. I think a centre back comes in July. I don't see Bramflake because I think the money they asking for is ridiculous. So unless after June 30th, when they need to sell, they agree a price that's lower, maybe him. But I see a centre back. So whether that's Lenny Yoro or Todibo, I see a centre back coming in first week of July.
So you think the first one would be a centre back?
Yeah.
Shreyas?
I think the first would be probably a midfielder who is going to be coming in. And once again, I think it happens in July. I would say late stages of July, actually. Because preseason is going to, I think, kick up around 15th of July. So I don't see us signing anyone before preseason. I think once preseason kicks on, that's when United will go into signings.
Interesting. Very interesting. I wish we could directly give memberships to a specific individual, because what I was going to say is, if anyone actually gets it right in the chart and gets the date right or whatever, then we directly give out a membership. But I don't think it works like that, does it? So, but let's just see.
You can buy individual ones for certain people, but if you're gifting it, it just is random, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Well, interesting anyway to see what you're saying. I think I agree with Steph. I think Todibo. Yeah, I think we'll go to Debo. I don't know when, to be honest with you. It's hard to even judge at this point.
I've got a question. Got a question. So I want your centre-back ideal signing. I want your midfield ideal signing. I want your striker ideal signing that we could get in. So just the three. Think about budget as well. Think about budget as well. Be aware of your budget.
Centre-back, I would say Antonio Silva. Midfield, Joao Neves wouldn't fit the bill.
Wouldn't?
Not going.
He wouldn't fit the bill.
Oh, right. I thought he was like. I thought that was like a saying he wouldn't fit the bill, like he wouldn't be able to play.
I just think that if we go in for him, we need to pay around 75 to 80. And
Antonio Silva's going to cost you about fucking 80 million. Yeah. Very expensive.
I think for the striker, for me it would either be Dybala or Griezmann, because both of them will come at around 10 or 12 million. They've both got release clauses in.
Their wages though, their wages are going to be insane. Like ridiculous
That's the
wages.
only thing about it.
Yeah.
But then if you're only paying 12 mil, is it? I don't know. I don't know. I'll go Euro, Neves, and then striker. Striker's a hard one, isn't it? Because I don't think we've.
Xerxes going to AC, isn't he? AC Milan.
Yeah.
And then we got linked with someone today, I think.
Sesko, I'll go just because I really love Sesko.
And you don't want him to go to Arsenal.
No, yeah, just so he doesn't go to Arsenal.
Sevilla.
Euro, Neves, Sesko.
Sevilla striker present an offer, Yusuf En-Nesyri, in the coming days.
Oh yeah, from Sevilla.
Yeah.
I saw that. I looked at the account that put it out. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never seen it before.
I've just seen breaking news, by the way, from Christian Falk, the CF Bayern guy.
Yeah.
So fairly reliable. There was a meeting in Monaco last Tuesday between Thomas Tuchel and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Tuchel revealed his plans if he were to take over as Manchester United manager. Tuchel explained to Ratcliffe how he could get Man United's sporting problems like Sancho and Mount back on track. Tuchel mentioned Antonio Rudiger as an example. He's already succeeded in the past getting players with great potential back to top performances. That's from Christian Falk just like 5 minutes ago.
Interesting. We shall await the news that is still pending and could be pending for the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. God knows. I thought it'd be done by this. Yeah, I thought it'd be done by this weekend, but apparently not. Sam, who was your three? Just before we go.
Euro, Hjumlund, and I would have gone with Xerxes, but he's going to fucking AC now, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'd bring Elise in, I think. One of my forwards. I'd bring him in.
Interesting. Well, do leave yours in the comments, people, if you're live, if you're watching this later on, and you're like, oh, what's going on here? This is a new channel, never seen this before. Hit that subscribe button. We're on 5,372 with 28 off 5,400. So if you are new, please do that. And let us know, your three signings and who will be the first one this summer. This has been your Sunday social. Hopefully we sign Joao Neves. I hope we keep Eric Ten Hag. I hope England win the Euros, and I hope we start pre-season off in flying fashion. But the majority of that probably won't happen, so we can always be hopeful, I suppose. Sam, Shreyas, what are we doing for the rest of the day before we head off?
Yeah, it's India-Pakistan today, so...
Oh, big rivalry.
Yeah, so my day is pretty much sorted after the next couple of hours. So, yeah, that's how the day is going to go today.
Yeah, we should have started off with that. That's a fucking fascinating rivalry, that, isn't it? India versus Pakistan. So is it, sorry to, I won't go too deep into it, but is it like a test? I don't really watch cricket, so.
It's a T20.
It's what?
It's a 20-20 over game.
What's that?
Yeah, so 20 overs each.
Yeah, so in a test, it goes on for 5 days.
Okay.
This is each team gets to play 20 overs. So pretty much done in like a 4-hour space rather than playing for 5 days.
Ah, okay. And you think India will win?
Oh, of course.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And you fully believe that, yeah?
I mean, they haven't beaten us in World Cup tournaments ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, happy days then. Oh, yeah. You just officially cursed it, mate. Well done.
Yeah.
Sam, are you also watching any cricket, or what's your plan?
No offense to Shreyas, but I can't stand cricket. It bores the life out of me. I'm sure
it's a very sleepy sport, isn't it? I think, especially test runs.
I didn't mind playing it. Playing it was fun, but watching it, I'd rather staple my eyelids to the table than watch that. But sorry. No, I've got loads of live shows to do today, unfortunately, because I've been away for a week, so I have to do all the boring shit that you normally have to do during the week. So I've got to do all that today. But yeah, we will be back at some point, either tonight live or we'll record it tonight with the Real Reds After Dark. So if you're a member, you just become a member. Please do look out for that. There will be a members video this week. Me and Nick are going to do to the youth prospects and who's the next star with the Kobbie Mania and stuff like that. Boxer said Sam's going to Taylor Swift concert. Mate, do you think I've got the money to go to a Taylor Swift concert? Do you know how much those tickets are? Insane.
Money wasn't my first initial thing that I thought with you linked with the Taylor Swift.
Well, the other part is I don't like her as an artist either, but the money is ridiculous. Stapling the eyelids to the table, lakes activity, Sam? No, but if I had a lot more alcohol, it might have been. So Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's
check out.
stapling his eyelids at a Taylor Swift concert. That's what he's doing.
Stick needles in my ears to kill my eardrums. But yeah, this is more after dark talk. This isn't it, really?
I was to say, what a way to end the show on a positive. We're talking about stapling your eyelids to a fucking table.
Yeah, but yeah, check out After Dark. Check out the youth thing me and Nick are gonna do, and then obviously you got all your news stuff throughout the week. Follow the socials. The Instagram's popping off at the minute. Like we're going like towards 3,500. The TikTok, as always, is absolutely massive. Follow the Twitter. There's not a lot of people coming and following the Twitter. So if you've got Twitter or X, as I'll never call it X.
Twitter,
it's always Twitter.
X is just.
Come follow us on there as well. There's some good stuff, and then we've obviously got guests coming on in the next few weeks, months. We've got Mupteers on June 14th, I believe.
Yeah, when the transfer window opens.
Yeah, so
Correct.
check that out as well. Please look out for that.
Yeah, that'll be on Friday. So yeah, I can't wait to get into that. You've all been absolutely tremendous as always. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and me, Sam, and Treyas will see you guys in the next one. See you in a bit.
Peace.